over the past decade, failing to keep pace with inflation and reducing the command's purchasing power by 14%. I was disappointed to see that SOCOM's FY27 budget request was only $223 million higher than last year's enacted level, dropping even further from an already less than 2% to now just above 1% of the department's overall budget. All of this comes despite being increasingly asked to do more. From 2023 to 2025, there was a 35% increase in combatant command demand for soft capabilities. And last year alone, SOCOM was unable to satisfy roughly 70 mission-specific requests due to resource and capacity restraints. Secretary Hegseth, I have appreciated the opportunity to meet with members of your team and leaders like ASW Solik Anderson and SOCOM Commander Admiral Bradley as we work to grow the SOCOM top line for future fiscal years. Can you discuss the critical role soft plays in underpinning deterrence, and do you agree with the urgent need to grow the SOCOM budget accordingly?
Well, Congressman, thank you for your words, and I wholeheartedly agree. When you look at the burden that SOCOM shoulders on behalf of the Joint Force, it's incredible and it's significant, and so many of the things we have accomplished would not have been possible without the incredible leadership of Admiral Bradley, General Braga, and others inside that community and what they do. I recognize your desire for increased funding beyond what is in FY27. We have and will continue to look at that. That needs to happen. I think some of the other things inside the budget, drones, quality of life, there will be things that are applied to that community even more so, we believe, to ensure that they're taken care of properly. And then there's facility questions that are outstanding also, which we're examining. So we're committed, and we want to work with you. Where we've missed something, we need to get it right because they are at the front lines.
Thank you. And that leads into my next question. I just want to ask this real quickly. This year's budget request of $54.6 billion for the DAWG, for the Defense Autonomous Warfare Group, is a vital step to unleash American drone dominance and rapidly integrate autonomous and unmanned systems across the Joint Force. And we've talked about that a little bit here. However, my concern is only $1 billion of this proposed funding is included in the base request, with the remaining $53.6 billion dependent on future reconciliation package. While I understand the flexibility this approach provides, I remain concerned about the potential gaps created if such a package fails to occur, or if funding for the DAWG is not included in future budget requests. And like you said, I'm hoping that SOCOM is a big part of this. But to avoid critical capability gaps, how is the department planning to fully fund DAWG at the $54.6 billion if reconciliation stalls, or if the department or does the department intend to transition funds for autonomous requirements into the base budget for future years? And additionally, as you mentioned, how will the department ensure SOCOM receives and executes portions of this funding to meet future mission requirements?
It's the right question, and we plan to work hand in glove with this committee, with OMB, with the White House, to ensure that that reconciliation package is properly tailored and timed so that it is passed, so that critical money gets there. So we're not looking to FY28 or FY29, because we need those capabilities right now, which is why I appreciate the Chairman's opening question about reconciliation. It is a critical vehicle in this calendar year to ensure this department is fully funded to meet the threats of the future.
Well, thank you. Once again, I think you guys are doing an incredible job. I appreciate your leadership, and thank you for your time today. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentleman yields back. Chair, I recognize the gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Houlihan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate you gentlemen for being here today and for the opportunity to have a face-to-face conversation with each of you. I have many questions and unfortunately need to start with some that disturb me, Mr. Secretary, from your opening remarks. In your opening remarks, Mr. Secretary, you reserved more words and more time and more vitriol to condemn Democrats than you did for Xi and for Putin combined. It's pretty telling to me that you decided to use your words and your time for that. It turns out that Democrats, even Democrats in Congress, are patriots as well. We serve in our uniformed services, we admire and love our uniformed services, and we love our country just as much as Republicans do. In fact, in this body, I and Representative Bacon, who you just spoke to, led the junior enlisted pay raises that you now sit there and laud and take credit for. We led the closing of the BAH, which then you ended up poaching and using for other things. This body led and authorized Ukrainian funding that is now being withheld. You also, in your opening remarks, strangely admonished us here for not being patient with the results of your 2-month war. a war of your suggestion to this president, a war of your choice, a war you executed without congressional consultation. And so it shouldn't be shocking, sir, Mr. Secretary, that we have questions. Indeed, it's constitutionally our right to do so. So to be clear, despite a brilliant performance by our men and women in uniform, despite thousands of tactical successes, Iran still has nuclear material, still has air defenses, still has small boats, and still has the Strait. So despite the fact that your recent comments indicate that operations appear to be finished, there clearly is more work that needs to be done. As mentioned, today is indeed 60 days. So, Mr. Secretary, how many more months, just order of magnitude, do you think that you're going to need to be able to conclude operations successfully? And how many more billions of dollars do you think you're going to ask this body for?
Well, as you know, and as the President has stated, you would never tell your adversary, especially once you've
that is the line that you always
especially
use,
once
but
you've
give me an order of
decimated their
magnitude.
military and you control their
3x,
strait,
4x?
how long you would be committed to the mission.
And the next thing that you mentioned in your opening
You know
remarks,
that.
Mr.
You would never do that.
Secretary, is that you called on, which astounded me, examples of the Afghanistan war, the Iraq war, and the Vietnam war. Those are stunning examples to me of something that didn't go our way. We had the opportunity to execute on those wars quite well, but we didn't accomplish any mission, in my opinion, and I think you would agree on that as well.
My point is this effort is not those efforts.
That's exactly it. Is this war shaping up to be that war? Because it has every
We're shaping up to get the
indication
same
and
kind of
earmark for
Democrats we
that.
got in those wars who were
And once
naysayers
again, you
from the
go back to
beginning,
parties.
undermining the progress
Can
of
we just have a
troops.
conversation
We're 2
about the country
months
and the nation
in.
and not about parties?
The Democrat Party wanted to socially
Again,
engineer
we're
the
having
Department of War.
conversations about
We've had to undo that and get it to a point where it's
country
capable of
and not
projecting
party.
power, and
Clearly,
that's
you're not
exactly
able
what
to
we've
have that
done.
conversation.
And
So I will
President Trump
move
has
on, sir,
rebuilt
and
it.
I'm going to reclaim my time. General George, let's talk about a guy who's a patriot, somebody who every single person here in this dais and down there in that audience and out there in this world has huge admiration for. Why did he get fired?
Well, as with any moves we make with general officers, first of all, I thank them for their service, and ultimately,
My impression is you thanked him by a text or a phone call. You didn't even do it to his face.
out of respect for these officers, we never talk about the nature of their removal, but every one of them, including myself, knows that they serve at the pleasure of the President.
Why did you fire him?
Ultimately, out of respect to these officers, we don't reveal it. However, I will note, it's very difficult to change the culture of a department that was been destroyed by the wrong perspectives
So
with the
you
same
think
officers
General
that were
George
there.
destroyed a culture?
There are many, we've gotten rid
guess
of
it
many
just looks
general
to me
officers
as
in
if
this
you're
administration
you
because
have
we
no
need new
answer,
leadership.
sir. You have no way of explaining why you fired one of the most decorated and remarkable men who's
We
ever
needed
served
new
this
leadership.
nation.
That's
And
my
so
answer.
your answer is a very immature way of responding to my request. My next question has to do with my remaining time about the fact that there apparently are orders that you've recently given to the Navy to detail officers to command billets in special operations where they, the people who you're detailing, have already received bad performance reviews. They've received negative fitness reports. Is there a truth to that statement, sir?
I'm not aware of what you're referring to.
Have you ever ordered the Navy to add officers who never screened for Special Operations Major Command to the promotion list for flag officer?
I'm not aware of what you're referring to.
All right, I'll take that for no. Thank you, I yield.
Generally yields back. For everybody's situational awareness, it's my plan at 1 o'clock or approximately 1 o'clock to recess for about 10 minutes to give the witnesses a chance to stretch their legs and visit the restroom if necessary. But with that, we will now go to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Secretary, are you aware that that Iran, either through our intelligence or they themselves, said they had about 500 kilograms of enriched uranium, up to about 60%?
We're aware of what they have or what they believe they have and what we know they have, but all of that is classified.
Fair enough. And if indeed they had 500 kilograms of enriched uranium, how long would it take it to weapons grade?
Quickly enough that it's a serious national security problem for the United States of America that
If
should
I
be dealt
said
with.
days or a few weeks, would that be inaccurate?
You might be somewhere in the ballpark.
Okay, thank you. Actually, you can just get that from ChatGPT. It'll give it to you. Okay. So so it's not that classified. All right. Would you say that our primary mission in this war is to deny Iran the capability to develop a nuclear weapon?
Yes.
And would you say that a regime that's capable of killing 35,000 of its own people within a 2-day period, are they capable, if they had the delivery systems, to carry out their threat to destroy Israel and also to harm the United States of America?
Any regime willing to kill 35,000, and we think it might be more, 45,000
too.
of their own citizens in cold blood, would most certainly be willing to use the most dangerous weapon in the world, especially as history teaches us, when a nation says they will do something, you ought listen. And when they chant death to America or death to Israel, if they got that nuclear weapon, history tells us they might use it.
Well, Hitler said he was going to kill the Jewish, and he was going to try to eliminate the Jewish population and Jews from the face of the world. Nobody really believed him, but he really tried to do that. So when somebody tells me for 47 years that they want to kill us, I think I'm going to take them at their word. And so would you also agree that now another goal of ours is to make sure that Iran never blockades the Strait of Hormuz, never has control of the Strait of Hormuz? Would that be an objective of ours?
What they're doing right now is effectively piracy. It's terrorism. It's threatening international shipping. And our blockade is signaling to the world that we actually control that strait. And I would ask this committee, what would this effort look like if Iran had nuclear weapons? Imagine if not Iran had nuclear capabilities, what they would do to wield over any advantage they have, from proxies to funding international terrorism.
Mr. Secretary, also, not only would they do that, but imagine if we had not become energy independent. Under the previous administration, they were hampering our ability to be energy independent under the guise of the Green New Deal, which is insanity, by the way. I'm going to go back a little bit in history. We were bombed, Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7th, 1941. Do you know how long it took for the United States to have its first major victory in World War II in the Pacific Theater?
Number of years.
No, it was actually 6 months. It was the Battle of Midway, all right? It was a turning point of World War II. Could you imagine if we had had the same Democrats asking then Secretary of War, all right, gee, it's been 2 months, okay, and we haven't won this war yet back then. We didn't win a major battle for 6 months. Your job, the job of the military, what you've done in the first 2 months is extraordinary. And so, again, for a couple of final questions. Do you know how much money we spent on Ukraine? Helping Ukraine?
Under the previous administration?
No, right now, up to now.
Upwards of $300 billion, $350 billion?
You're probably right, about $300 billion. And yet I don't hear anything about, gee, how much money have we spent on Ukraine from the other side? The difference between them and me is this. I support the United States and their efforts to help Ukraine against a dictatorial, aggressive power like Russia, which is our second greatest adversary. But I also support our efforts to make sure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. And so you'll always have my support, and I'm pretty consistent in that. I also support our efforts in what we did in Venezuela. We still have to go a little bit further because that remnants of that regime are still there. And we need to provide freedom for the people of Venezuela. And also, one thing, for me, I guess what I'm looking for in this war with Iran is to make sure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon, that we have established an inspection protocol to make sure they never get a nuclear weapon, and that we control the strait, and they never can control the strait.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair, now
Thank you.
recognize the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Crow.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to go in a little bit different direction. Timothy Parlatore served as your private attorney, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Parlatore also served as private attorney for President Trump's campaign, correct?
I'm not privy to every professional position that he's held.
Well, I'll help you out. He did. And you appointed Mr. Parlatore as your senior advisor, correct?
He does reserve duty on behalf of the Navy.
His title is senior as an advisor. You gave him that title, correct?
And I would count him as very much an advisor of mine.
Yep. He travels with you, correct?
Tim Parlatore has been a long-term friend. He's a great patriot.
He travels with you. That's not what I asked. I reclaim my time. He travels with you, doesn't he? He travels with you, doesn't he? Correct? There's public Instagram that shows this. Just say yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. He sits in meetings with you and advises you, doesn't he?
He sits in some meetings on
Yeah,
occasion.
well, he maintains a desk in an office in the Pentagon, does he not?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
It's a big Pentagon.
You directly commissioned Mr. Parlatore in the Naval Reserve as a Navy commander in March 2025, did you not?
I was very proud to do so.
And when you did, because he's a Navy Reserve officer, he didn't have to go through the PPO process, the White House Presidential Personnel Office, right? He wasn't vetted by a White House PPO.
Uniformed service members don't get vetted by.
The answer is yes. He didn't have to be vetted by a White House PPO. He didn't go through the Senate confirmation process either, did he? The answer is no.
I don't know what you're getting to, but Tim is a fantastic.
I'll tell you what I'm
American.
getting to. The
He does
answer is
great
no,
work.
right?
He does great work.
Okay. He didn't maintain a security clearance when you appointed him as special advisor. Is that right?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
I mean, anybody that has access to sensitive material is going to have the appropriate clearance.
Okay, so when you appointed him as special advisor, he had a security clearance?
You're trying to piece together a timeline.
No, I'm asking
that I
a simple
can't give you
question.
exact
One of your
dates for.
special, most sensitive advisors, did he have a security
No,
clearance?
you're
when you-
playing a gotcha game like you do on TV
I'm
and
asking
everywhere else.
questions.
You're trying to thread together details that
Clearly, you're
aren't connected about
concerned.
something else.
Clearly, you're concerned about my line of questioning, aren't you, Mr. Secretary? Because you know where it's going, don't you? I think you do. So, does Mr. Parlatore represent foreign governments? He has a private law practice, does he not?
From what I understand of his law practice, he does a lot of great work for service members in the military and other.
He maintains a private law practice. Does he represent foreign governments or foreign persons in that private law practice?
I don't know.
You don't know. Somebody who's sitting in your meetings, a special advisor, you don't know. Does he represent any senior officers who are currently under consideration for promotion by you or your office?
The only person that makes determinations about senior officers is me.
Answer the question. Does he represent senior officers who are under consideration for promotion by you?
No, I'm the one that makes decisions about choosing.
Does he represent them,
finding
Mr.
senior
Secretary? Does he
He
represent
doesn't
them?
represent anyone. He's a legal advisor and always has
But
been.
he has clients, does he not?
He's a legal advisor to me on reserve duty, and he always has been, and he does a fantastic
Is it
job.
true that
You're
Mr.
playing a
Parlatore was
losing hand,
removed?
whatever you're
I
trying to
reclaim my
play here.
time. Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was removed from an investigation by the White House last year?
I don't know what you're referring to, but not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. Was it true that you were also removed from that same investigation? The answer is yes.
No, not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. That's interesting. Well, is it true that Mr. Parlatore disparaged President Trump?
I don't know what you're referring to, but no.
Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was accused by President Trump and his lawyers of lying?
What you're accused of is a cute line of questioning that's going nowhere.
Well, it's going somewhere, which is why you're not answering the question. Was it true that he was accused of lying by the president's legal team?
I'm not familiar to. You'd have to give me the context.
Well, it's right
of that
here. You
article,
want to look at
and
the statement from President
Anybody
Trump's
can blow
legal
up
team?
a quote and claim it says something, and that's what you're doing in a little stunt.
Secretary
right
Hegseth,
now.
what I'm really concerned about is you purport to have unfaltering loyalty to President Trump, and yet you are continuously
Oh,
going
you care a
back-
lot
I
about
reclaim my
President Trump,
time.
don't you?
You are
This
going
is a
behind his
cute waste
back
of your 5
and
minutes.
appointing
A
people.
huge,
I reclaim my
cute
time.
waste of your 5 minutes that
I
led
reclaim
nowhere.
my time. You are
Do not
repeatedly
pass go,
going
do not
behind the
collect
president's
President's
Gentlemen
back.
from
back.
Colorado's
Failed.
time. Go ahead, Mr. Carl.
You are repeatedly going behind President Trump's back, appointing people who he is accused of lying, who the White House is
Gentleman's
accused of
time's
lying.
expired.
And you are